Alexa, stop. Welcome to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast, where the Minnesota Vikings just lost to the Bengals 27-24. That might actually be the exact same amount we lost by. I think it was the exact same score, actually, the last time we were in Cincinnati, where Delvin Cook was clearly down and they called it a fumble and we lost that way. So just another case of, regardless of what season it is, there will always be some way that we end up just barely above 500 and either missing the playoffs or getting blown out in the first round. And this year, it was because we decided to have an amazing defense the one year that Kirk Cousins was hurt. And also, Kevin O'Connell doesn't know how to call a close game to save his life. So the Vikings were up 17-3 going into the fourth quarter. And then, once again, we just found a way to not get any points, to not be aggressive. The same thing happened. We couldn't hold on to a lead. All of a sudden, when Ty Chandler was amazing all game long, but as soon as we needed to get first downs and run down the clock, we couldn't run the ball well at all, and we decided to start throwing passes, and it was just another horrible management of a lead by our entire coaching staff. Nick Mullins was actually not bad. He threw a couple interceptions that kept the Bengals in it early, but I mean, he wasn't that bad. Addison was amazing. Jefferson was back to his normal Jefferson ways. And then there were just some weird, wacky plays. And I didn't watch this whole game, just to be clear. I gotta admit that. I was working a game, and then I came back and I listened to the call when I got home from Paul Allen. And the defense kind of gave up in the fourth quarter. All the things they did well throughout the entire game, including all the takeaways and everything. The Bengals just threw 50-50s to T. Higgins for the majority of their plays and ended up scoring and tying the game up on that. We scored a touchdown, and with scoring the touchdown with only 2 minutes left in the game made me think that maybe we could, the defense could make a stop, considering before they had let that first touchdown go by the Bengals, they hadn't given up. I think it was 26 straight drives that they hadn't given up a touchdown. Except as soon as we go up by 14 points, then all of a sudden it's time to give up all the touchdowns that we possibly could. It's crazy how that works. And then we were in overtime with the ball on the 41, and we have Ty Chandler, who has been fantastic all game long. We have a 3rd and 1 at the 41-yard line, and Kevin O'Connell decides, no, let's do the Philadelphia tush push. Instead of giving the ball on 3rd and 1 to a running back that's been amazing all game long, let's go with the play that it's been clear that play does not work unless you have a Jalen Hurts type quarterback that squats whatever it is he can, where he has the strength to be able to get through that, and the best center in the league in Jason Kelce. It's clear that doesn't work for pretty much every other team. And we tried to do it twice with Quisenberry as our center. We have a guy named Quisenberry as our center who somehow is better than Bradbury, which is funny that we could even find someone like that. I mean, anyway. We have a guy named Quisenberry as the center, and we have Nick Mullins as the quarterback, and we were like, we can do it the same way as the Eagles can. Instead of handing it off to our incredibly powerful short gain running back, let's try it twice. I understand maybe trying it on 3rd down, but if you get stuffed, why would you try it again? And O'Connell just can't figure it out. He can't fit, we got so lucky last year in close games, and now O'Connell can't figure out how to close a game to save his life. And it's just very frustrating. And it's also frustrating because you look back and you're like, okay, imagine either Kirk Cousins didn't get injured this year, and we had the offense that we were starting to build up before he got injured, along with how good this defense has been as of late. Or imagine if you put this defense on last year's team, and we would potentially be better than the Eagles. it's just crazy because it's like it feels like there's always every year there's always something. You know, a few years ago, Mike Zimmer's conservative play calling meant that we couldn't win any games even if we wanted to. And then for the last couple of years, it's been offensive line. And then last year, we had the worst defense in the history of the league, even though we had one of the best offenses and the most clutch team in the league. And then this year, we completely 180 it somehow and have one of the best defenses in the league with one of the best defensive coordinators in the league that's completely transforming our defense, and Kirk gets hurt. It's just it's incredible how we always find some way for this to not work out, and it just feels like it will never happen because now the Vikings are 7-7. We have the Lions to look forward to now on Christmas Eve, and then we get to play the Packers. We'll probably lose to them too. We'll play the Lions again. We're not gonna make the playoffs now. The Seahawks, even if they lose to the Eagles this week, will find a way to come back and take us over. The Packers are definitely going to take us over, and then it's probably the Saints, Falcons, whatever team is left. I don't see. I feel like the Vikings need to get to 9-8 in order to make the playoffs, and that's not going to happen. We're not going to win 2 of the next 3. We're just not. So I don't know. Maybe it's for the best that we don't have to watch this team play in the playoffs against like the Eagles or Cowboys or 49ers or even Lions. But it's also just very frustrating that we had it. We were up 17-3, and we had it in the bag, and we had a chance to be 8-6, which would be very difficult to miss the playoffs if we went up to 8-6, and we just couldn't do it. And it's frustrating that the circumstances that we've been dealt, like the Kirk Cousins injury and all that stuff, wasn't even the reason why we lost this game. And so it brings up a whole lot of other things, and this is going to be a very interesting offseason. That's all I got to say. Whether we bring back Kirk Cousins, whether we get a draft a QB, I honestly hope we do both. Get Kirk Cousins back, see what we can do, and then worst case scenario, we don't make the playoffs, but then this young quarterback learns from a guy as smart as Kirk Cousins. I don't know, but there's a lot of things that need to happen this season. But you know what I'm sure will happen is we will get a better offense next year, and Brian Flores will leave for a head coaching job, and we'll just be in the same loop again with a worse defense. But anyway, that's my very optimistic take, as you can tell, on the whole situation. Vikings lose a game that they went into the fourth quarter leading by 14, having not given up any more than 3 points in the last 2 games, and give up that many points in the span of 14 minutes, lose the game because we can't run the ball. More terrible decision making. So let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you in the off season, but we have a few more games to get through first. So thanks again, and I'll see you on the flip side.